Hey everybody, welcome back to Smales Pace. If you tuned in a couple episodes ago, I did a show called Radiohead about my days in radio in London, Ontario in the 70s. It was a lot of fun remembering all the ins and outs of how we did radio in those days. Based on that kind of success and that bit of buzz, Cableview approached me about doing a live to tape show at Smales Pace. This would be taped on Saturdays and then would be played various times during the week, like community events and community activity, etc. So I thought it was a great idea. The way it was done was this RV would roll up in front of Smales Pace and like a big recreational vehicle, and inside would be tape recorders and video recorders and mixing boards and lighting panels, and it would be all directed from there. From that vehicle would be this big bejesus cable that was huge, and it would run from the vehicle through the courtyard, through the front door, and then to mixing board inside, or to controls inside, to the cameras, etc. There'd be two cameramen inside, and boom mics and lights, etc. So it was all controlled. Now, this was in the middle of winter, and in London in those days it was very snowy and cold, and the wind would howl inside. Saturday was our busy day of the week. It was busy at lunch, and this is exactly when we did the recordings, right? They'd show up at about 11 o'clock, and then by the time we did our checks and balances and all that stuff, we were right in the midst of people coming and going, which I thought was great. It's all part of what it is and what it was, and I thought people would get a kick out of watching TV being made, being in the midst of history. So, and then, the musicians, it was based around music, and so there'd be musicians on stage, and they would perform, and I'd interview them, and they would talk to the audience, and it was all about spontaneity, and it was all about authenticity. Very, 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 very hard to do. I'd start off and say, "Hi, my name is John Smail. Welcome to Saturday at Smales Pace." Cut. The director would say, "John, you skipped there. You didn't articulate. You didn't gesticulate. You didn't articulate." And I'm thinking, "Well, buddy, you fornicate, okay?" I was getting frustrated after all this stuff. The camera doesn't like that angle, and I'd say, "Mr. DeMille, this angle or this angle?" And he was. He had a job to do. I just didn't think he was having fun doing the job as much as I was not having fun doing the job either at times. And then they said, "We need another white check." And this is when they held up a piece of white cardboard in front of the cameras, and the camera would adjust itself. I guess there were a bunch of mice inside running around pushing little buttons to make sure all the CMYK colors aligned. And then Willie P would be egging them on. He'd say, "That's not really John Smail. And when he comes, he's going to be really mad because he thinks you're going to be further along." And Willie was a treat that way. He had a tremendous sense of humor and a wildness about him that we all loved. And then next take, do another take. And then I'd introduce Willie all over again, and I'd say, about a song that he was about to sing, and then after take 8, no one wants to hear the song anymore. I hate Willie. I hate the producer. I hate the director. I hate the two cameramen. I hate the gaffer. I hate the guy out in the truck. And then it's take 9, and I start to cry. Not the literal cry, but the silent cry, where you don't want to cry in front of people. Take 10 really seemed good to me, and I said, let's go to the RV and check it out, because I think we got a take here. And then we get out there, and somebody said, "Well, where's Willie's voice?" And some little kid unplugged the microphone at the stage. Well, did I mention kids? I like kids. I like them now. Back then, I didn't have any experience with kids at all, and I proposed another series to Cableview that would run concurrently, but on alternating Saturdays. And it would be called Are you ready for this, folks? Now, it was going to be called SmalesPace, but Smales Pace. Get it? Anyway, I thought I was going to be the next Art Linklater. For those of you who don't know who Art Linklater is, if you're under 50, I guess, he was the congenial host of Kids Say the Darndest Things, a TV show where he would interview kids, and well, if the truth be known, they didn't say the darndest things. I'm sure they were coached, and I bet you $1 million that these smart-ass kids and the darlings were coached. So there I was sitting with them in a circle, and I would lob out questions to 5 or 6 kids, expecting they'd be fighting over something to say, something cute, something precocious, something that would make us crack up, Zippo. Nothing. Crickets, nothing. Like I'm giving them my best material. They can shine with, and they decide amongst them that I'm Ted Bundy, or I landed from Pluto, or I'm the guy from Donkey Island. So the ideas I had were to have kids talk about music. Talk about music, talk about life and school and all that stuff too, and their parents. But, I was going to be like the Friendly Giant or Mr. Rogers, and not lead them in song, but talk about music. And that was before Raffi, the kids' entertainer, the children's entertainer, who does a terrific job. And Raffi used to play at SmalesPace before he entered the lucrative business of children's music. And I got to hand it to Raffi, a gold star, a certificate for not killing one of the little monsters, rugrats, darlings, I should say. And needless to say, my career in kids' TV was a real bomb. I could really feel the pity. Now, back to adult music concert format. I had big plans for that too, with the, musician banter and the audience banter, and I'd reach out to the audience for a comment, or what'd you think of that song? And when I reached out to random people, they looked at me like I was about to introduce them to the stick that I was going to poke them in the eye with, or that I was going to touch them inappropriately, or they froze. They froze, and the director yelled, "Take 17!" And spontaneity is one of the hardest things to do, to keep it spontaneous, and it's hard to be spontaneous when it's awkward. No other word for it. We did, I think, 3 or 4 episodes. My memory's a bit foggy on that. I wonder why. On Cable View, and then it died a quiet death. I don't even think there was a funeral announcement or a death announcement. I didn't even go to the funeral. I was too embarrassed. My dreams of being the next Dick Clark in London, Ontario, or Dick Cavett, or I was more like Dick Head at the time. It just didn't get off the ground, my TV career. It went like a wet firecracker, and it fizzled out. And was I disappointed? Well, yes, like any buddy with a half an ego, I suppose. But it was quickly followed by a double shot of relief, and that's that. And now when I look back, I do have fond memories of it, though. I mean, I can laugh about it now. Both my son Trevor and my daughter Kaylee are in the film and TV business in Toronto, and I don't even know if they've heard these stories about their father, the auteur and director extraordinaire. You know what? It was a business of hurry up and wait, and I'm not into that stuff. I like immediacy, and I like getting things done. So, needless to say, I'm not going to follow in the footsteps of my children. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, hit that subscribe button there. I think it's in the shape of a snail, and we'll see you tomorrow or the next day or very, very soon. In any case, bye-bye. Take care.